WWE wrestling fans. Welcome to Pro Wrestling 101 right here on my YouTube channel, the Legendary Alex Cardinale. I'm your host, WWE fanboy Alex Cardinale, and today I bring to you a new series right here on Pro Wrestling 101. The name of this new series is WWE Top 10. And I'm going to be counting down top 10 things about WWE. So on every WWE Top 10, I will have a topic dedicated to WWE and pro wrestling. Now, a number of weeks ago, I tried to do a video on my favorite superstar entrances, but unfortunately, YouTube declared that I had copyrighted content on that video, and it resulted in me being banned from uploading for a week. So I won't be able to do videos like that anymore. But today I have a very interesting and fun one to get us started and for me to rejuvenate this series because this is a wrestling series that I've always wanted to do, and now I have the opportunity to do it. Today, I'm going to talk about my top 10 favorite dream matches and feuds that have never happened, but they should have. These matches include some WWE Hall of Famers and WWE legends. What are my top 10 dream matches and feuds? I'm going to explain why this is a dream match of mine, and I'm going to talk about how the feud would start and much more. Also, at the end of today's show, I'm going to address the recently released WWE superstars who were released of their contracts earlier today. So, WWE fans, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show because I have a lot of amazing action coming your way today. All right, with that being said, what are some of your personal favorite WWE dream matches and feuds? What matches have not happened that you want to see happen in WWE? Post them in the comments, or if you're watching on my YouTube channel, post them in the YouTube chat, or if you're catching the replay on my YouTube channel, post them in the comments as well. I also have the link to my studio in my chat on YouTube if you want to appear live and discuss your favorite dream match that has not happened yet. And this is the link to my studio if you wish to come on air and talk about your dream matches with me, WWE fanboy Alex Cardinale. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to start by talking about my honorable mentions. Now, these are some dream matches that I want to see happen, but they haven't made the cut to be in my top 10, but I'm going to mention them regardless. So let's get to my first dream match that I'm going to talk about, and that is AJ Styles versus Triple H. Now, AJ Styles is an awesome WWE superstar. Now, he was not a superstar that was created in WWE. He had already had a career that was established in TNA and Impact Wrestling. And then he came over to WWE and proved himself to the WWE audience. So he's had classic matches with Shane McMahon at WrestleMania, classic matches with Chris Jericho at WrestleMania, and as it stands right now, he had Undertaker's last match at WrestleMania. So I think a match between AJ Styles and Triple H would be very interesting. Now, Triple H is WWE. He lives and breathes WWE. And I think AJ Styles and Triple H would have a hell of a WrestleMania match. This match was supposed to happen this year, but for whatever reason, Triple H backed out of it, which is why AJ Styles had fought for the Raw Tag Team titles with Omos. But maybe Triple H and AJ Styles will take place in WrestleMania 38 in Dallas. My next honorable mention is a match that a lot of people thought was going to happen, but Stone Cold Steve Austin told Vince McMahon, no, he did not want to face this person. And that is Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Brock Lesnar. Now, when Brock Lesnar first came into the WWE, there was no doubt he was going to be a awesome superstar. He was going to be one of the best, larger superstars to come into WWE. He already had victories over some great talent like the Hardy Boys and other awesome talent. And Vince McMahon wanted Stone Cold to face Brock Lesnar and put Brock Lesnar over. But unfortunately, Stone Cold did not want to have a match with Brock Lesnar at the time. The only altercation we got between Brock Lesnar and Stone Cold happened at a SmackDown a few weeks prior to WrestleMania 20, which is the picture you're seeing right now. Other than that, there have been no interactions between Brock Lesnar and Stone Cold. This is a match that's probably never going to happen because Stone Cold is older and he has an injured neck. So the doctors probably would never clear him, but it would have been an interesting dream match to see nonetheless. And my last honorable mention is another match involving AJ Styles. And this is one that could happen as well. And it is Edge versus AJ Styles. And we saw this feud come to life when Edge returned to action at the Royal Rumble 2020. I think Edge and AJ Styles can put on a series of great matches, and it's one that WWE fans would love. So those are my honorable mentions for today's episode. Now let's get right into my top 10 dream matches. And it seems like we're going to mention AJ Styles a lot on this video, but I think this is my final dream match that I'm going to mention for AJ Styles. So coming in at number 10 is Shawn Michaels versus AJ Styles. A lot of WWE fans thought this match was going to happen when the Royal Rumble was in San Antonio. People thought that Shawn Michaels was going to come out of retirement for a match at that year's Royal Rumble, which I believe was either 2017 or 2000. Yeah, it was 2017. So the Royal Rumble 2017 was in San Antonio, Texas. And someone put out there a rumor that Michaels was going to face AJ Styles, and a lot of fans believed it. I think if Shawn was to come out of retirement, it should have been against AJ Styles. He should not have done that DX Brothers of Destruction Crown Jewel match, but that's history, and we can't change history as much as we would like to. But I obviously am a fan of this matchup. I think this matchup could go at least two matches. We could have had Shawn Michaels versus AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble. And AJ Styles could have defeated Shawn Michaels at the Royal Rumble. And then at WrestleMania 33, Shawn Michaels can finish the feud by defeating AJ Styles. So that way they each would have a victory over another. And this is a point of time where AJ Styles was proving himself in the WWE. And the storyline could be that if AJ Styles is really phenomenal and a really top level main event superstar, he would have to go through Shawn Michaels. So at the Royal Rumble, he could have defeated Shawn Michaels, and that could have gave Shawn Michaels some doubt that he should have never returned, and then Shawn could have got the win in the rubber match at WrestleMania 33. Obviously, this match will never happen, probably, because Shawn Michaels is probably well into retirement now, and he'll probably never come out of retirement after that debacle that happened in Saudi Arabia between Shawn Michaels, Triple H, The Undertaker, and Kane. So that is my number 10 dream match, HBK versus AJ Styles. All right, coming in at number 9, a match that could be in our foreseeable future, a battle of the Samoans, and that is The Rock versus Roman Reigns. Now, Roman Reigns is on the best run of his career right now. He is killing it as a heel. I am enjoying his heel work, and I think if Roman Reigns is to suffer a defeat, it has to be on a superstar the caliber of The Rock. Think about it. The Rock is a future Hall of Famer. He's a superstar that electrifies the crowd. He's a big household name. And WWE needs someone like that to defeat Roman Reigns. I'm not saying that it has to be for the Universal Championship. By the time this match happens, Roman Reigns may not be Universal Champion, but he should still be heel. I think a heel Reigns versus a face Rock is the only scenario where this feud would work because The Rock would lace into Reigns in promos, and Reigns would probably deliver some awesome heelish promos on The Rock. Now, this is one of those feuds that I think benefits from one or two matches, possibly just one, because The Rock is a Hollywood superstar now, and I'm sure he wouldn't want to risk his health to have two matches. So I think the best place for this match to take place would be in Hollywood, because The Rock is a big Hollywood star, and it's only fitting that his final WWE match, this could possibly be his last match, take place in Hollywood against his cousin Roman Reigns. It could just be a battle of the bloodlines. That's your storyline right there. As far as who would win this match, I think The Rock should pass the torch to Roman Reigns. There's no reason for the Rock to get the victory. But if they were going to do a two-part series to this feud, then The Rock wins at WrestleMania, and Roman Reigns can win at whatever pay-per-view they finish this feud with, whether it be SummerSlam, Survivor Series, or the following WrestleMania like they did with John Cena and The Rock. This could be a feud that we see at WrestleMania 39 and WrestleMania 40. That could very well happen, and I would not be surprised if that happened. The Rock and Roman Reigns is money, my friends. All right. Coming in at number 8 is a dream match of mine that I had since I started liking wrestling. Now, I've been very fortunate to grow up in the 90s and 2000s as a wrestling fan. And in that time period, I got to watch WCW, which had stars like Goldberg, Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner, Sting, Booker T, and Hulk Hogan. And I also got to see WWF, now known as WWE, and they had stars like Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, The Undertaker, Triple H, D-Generation X, etc. But one of the matches I was always interested in seeing was Sting versus Shawn Michaels. Now, this match is probably never going to happen unless you play it in WWE 2K22. But it would have been an interesting match considering that Shawn Michaels and Sting are both born again Christians. They both have overcame so much adversity in their career. There's no secret that Shawn Michaels was a prick in the 90s. He was very hard to work with backstage. And unfortunately, Sting did not join the WWE until it was too late. And by the time Sting joined the WWE, Shawn Michaels was long retired. The only altercation we got between Sting and Shawn Michaels was at WrestleMania 31, where Sting took on his buddy Triple H, and Shawn Michaels delivered a sweet chin music to Sting when Sting had the Scorpion Deathlock on Triple H. But again, if Michaels was coming out of retirement in 2017, 2018, WWE could have gave us Sting versus Shawn Michaels at Crown Jewel, and I think that would have been a whole lot better than D-Generation X versus the Brothers of Destruction. But who knows? Because Sting did well against Triple H, and he did well against Seth Rollins until Seth Rollins gave him that buckle bomb that injured his neck. But Sting is getting up there in age, so it could have just been an age factor, or Rollins could have mishandled the buckle bomb. But this is a dream match we will never see, but it is one that I've always wanted to see since I've been into pro wrestling. All right, coming in at number 7, another dream match that could possibly happen, but probably won't, because we don't know if The Undertaker is truly retired or not. And the superstars that I have him facing could benefit from a victory against The Undertaker. Now, The Undertaker's only faced one member of the Shield, and that was Roman Reigns. And we all know Roman Reigns defeated The Undertaker at WrestleMania 33, and we all thought that was The Undertaker's final match. But then he came back and tagged with Roman Reigns in a tag team Extreme Rules match in 2019 against Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. So coming in at number 7 is The Undertaker versus Seth Rollins. Now, Seth Rollins to me is one of the best members of the Shield. There's no doubt that Roman Reigns is Vince's guy. Vince McMahon prefers Roman Reigns over the other members of the Shield, but Seth Rollins is the better technical wrestler, in my opinion. I like Seth Rollins. The work he's done both as a babyface and as a heel has been interesting. Seth Rollins has always been a favorite of mine. He's one of my favorite current superstars of this generation. And I think a match of a character like The Undertaker and Seth Rollins can work. Now, Seth Rollins has already added fire to this potential feud when he said that The Undertaker's character does not work in today's generation. And if the WWE was to do this feud and this match, they could use those words against Seth Rollins, and Undertaker could take exception to that. And we could possibly see the return of the American Badass, or this could be Undertaker's one and final last match where he goes in all the different characters that Undertaker has had. Like for one segment, it could be American Badass, then it could be the old school Undertaker, the Ministry of Darkness Undertaker. All his characters can be rolled into this feud at WrestleMania 38 or 39, and he can have one final match and put Seth Rollins over. But that is only a dream. We don't know if Undertaker is for real, retired. But for me, it would be awesome to see Undertaker versus Seth Rollins. I think that would be a classic matchup. And a lot of people, one of my personal friends who isn't able to make today's show, said that one of his dream matches is The Undertaker versus Drew McIntyre. Technically, that match kind of did happen at Extreme Rules 2019, albeit it was a tag team match. And we really didn't see much altercation between The Undertaker and Drew McIntyre. All right, let's talk about my sixth dream match. And as much as I dislike this superstar, I think a match with Stone Cold Steve Austin would have been fitting for his character. Now, this superstar is known as a crybaby, a complainer, basically a bitch in my eyes. He left WWE because everything did not go his way. He thought a match against a legend like Triple H was beneath him at WrestleMania, and he wanted to be in the main event. He also thought a match against Kane was beneath him. Kane and Triple H are two superstars that have worked their asses off for the WWE. But a lot of people like this guy, so I think it would have been cool to see him get his ass kicked by Stone Cold Steve Austin. So my sixth dream match is CM Punk versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Stone Cold has a bum neck, so he probably would never be able to wrestle again. But it could have just been like a quick match where he stuns CM Punk and gets the 1, 2, 3. And I think a defeat, uh, CM Punk could learn from his defeat against Stone Cold, and he could have became more humble. That is the only way this feud would have worked in my eyes. But I think it would have been cool to see the promos between Stone Cold and CM Punk. I know CM Punk has a lot of respect for Stone Cold, but it would play out well on air, and I think it would have been a great match. So CM Punk and Stone Cold is my number six dream match. So now we're getting down to the final five. Coming in at number fifth, my fifth dream match is a match consisting of the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and one of WWE's most popular superstars, and it is Shawn Michaels versus The Rock. This is a match that should have happened many times, but it did not because The Rock was not willing to work with Shawn Michaels due to Shawn Michaels' backstage politics and Shawn Michaels' behavior backstage. Shawn was very hard to work with back in the day, and The Rock had issues with how Shawn Michaels treated Bret Hart, and The Rock was not a big fan of the Montreal screw job. So all three of those things combined made The Rock not want to work with Shawn Michaels. But Shawn Michaels came back in 2002 as a rejuvenated person, a born again Christian, and he made amends with people like Vince McMahon, Triple H, and then later on Bret Hart. So Shawn Michaels made amends with everybody he felt that he had wronged. So I think The Rock is wrong in the way that he put off this match because of Michaels' past behaviors. I think if The Rock was really about doing what is right for professional wrestling and doing what is right for the WWE, he would have agreed to do this match at WrestleMania 19, because I believe one of the planned matches for WrestleMania 19 was Shawn Michaels versus The Rock, and I could be wrong, but I think I remember reading that in one of the WrestleMania books that came out a few years ago. Um, that Michaels and Rock was the planned WrestleMania 19 main event, but because The Rock didn't want to work with Shawn Michaels, they scrapped that, and Michaels ended up working with Chris Jericho instead in what was Shawn Michaels' return match to WrestleMania. And if you think about it, it kind of made sense because Shawn Michaels had to leave WrestleMania against Stone Cold Steve Austin. And when we think of Stone Cold Steve Austin, we think of his feud with The Rock, because that went on for multiple years and multiple WrestleMania main events. So Stone Cold, a guy that Shawn Michaels last had a WrestleMania match with, and Shawn Michaels' return to WrestleMania against The Rock would have been a huge story and a huge main event in itself, because you've got a great technical wrestler in Shawn Michaels against a great storyteller in The Rock. And obviously, this would have been a good match. And The Rock could have easily gotten the victory here, but I would not have been upset if Shawn Michaels got the victory. But this is a match that we'll have to play on WWE 2K22, because there is no chance in hell that Shawn Michaels would come out of retirement now to face The Rock. But otherwise, it would have been an interesting matchup for sure. Another match from my childhood that I have hoped to have seen, but unfortunately did not. And there's going to be one more match involving Shawn Michaels that was rumored to take place at a WrestleMania, but due to a certain incident, it had to be scrapped. And we'll talk about that as we get towards the bottom of my dream matches. So right now we are at the halfway point of my show today. So at this point, I would like to remind anybody that is tuning in now, or if you're watching the show from start to finish, don't be afraid to post your dream matches in the comment section of today's video or in the chat. And if you're watching this live, there's a link to my studio in the chat on YouTube if you want to appear live on today's video to tell me about your favorite dream matches. All right, so let's move right along and get right back to our dream matches. Coming in at number 4, the only dream tag team match on this list. You've got one popular faction from WCW and another popular faction from WWE. Of course, I'm talking about DX versus NWO. Now, granted, NWO was formed by all former WWE guys. NWO consisted of Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall. All three of them WWE guys. But then they transferred to WCW and they founded the NWO. DX was Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Chyna. And then when Shawn Michaels got injured, X-Pac came in, and then Road Dogg and Billy Gunn came into the fray. And then, of course, X-Pac. So DX versus NWO would have been a classic feud in 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006. But instead, we got Michaels versus Triple H in 2002 to 2005, which was fine because it established Triple H as a heel character. But when DX reunited in 2006, that was the perfect opportunity to bring back NWO and have a DX versus NWO feud. Now, Hulk Hogan was wrestling at this time, and one of the matches that took place a year prior to the DX reunion was Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan at SummerSlam. And WWE could have utilized DX with Shawn Michaels and NWO with Hogan at SummerSlam 2005. And that could have led to DX versus NWO either at WrestleMania 22 or SummerSlam 2006. But it just did not work out. The only altercation that we saw between DX and NWO was at WrestleMania 31 in the match that involved Triple H and Sting. And it kind of made no sense because NWO came out to help Sting, but in reality and in WCW history, NWO had problems with Sting, but they gave us the DX versus NWO scenario at WrestleMania 31 in that match. Now, if this match was to happen, I would have to say it probably could go either way, but I think DX gets the W because in the long run, DX outlasted NWO. They lasted longer than NWO. And there is one and only one DX. There is no imitation of DX. NWO has plenty of imitations, NWO, Wolfpack, etc., but there is only one D Generation X. So that is my fourth dream match. Coming in at number 3 is a match that a lot of WWE fans are going to laugh at because these two wrestlers have a lot of similarities. Coming in at number 3, John Cena versus the immortal Hulk Hogan. Both of these superstars are egomaniacs. Both of these superstars use their powers backstage to belittle and stop the pushes of certain superstars. For example, with John Cena, it was Alex Riley. And for Hulk Hogan, it was a whole plethora of superstars that Hogan caused companies to change their minds about. That comes to mind right now, Bret the Hitman Hart is one of them. Psycho Sid is another. And there's a lot more that Hogan was able to convince Vince to change his mind about. But when it comes to drawing power, when it comes to selling merchandise, when it comes to getting cheers as a babyface and getting boos as a heel or getting booed for sucking in the ring, Hulk Hogan and John Cena are untouchable and unmatchable. I often say that John Cena is the 2010s and 2020s version of Hulk Hogan. And Hulk Hogan had 1980s been the 2000s, 2010, and 2020s, he would have been John Cena. Both of them have huge egos, and they don't always like to lose. And when they are scripted to lose, they throw fits and they change the outcome. Don't believe me? Look at Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels, SummerSlam 2005. Michaels was supposed to go over, but Hogan was not going to have any of that. So that's why that feud only lasted one match. John Cena, SummerSlam 2010. Nexus was supposed to win, but he got the finish changed because he did not want to put over Nexus. So this match would be kind of hysterical to watch because who would get the win? Whose ego would be damaged the most? Who would agree to lose to who? I think that would be pretty funny. But there's a lot of John Cena fans and there's a lot of Hulk Hogan fans. So I don't know. A match I wouldn't care to see, but I know a lot of people would like this particular match. All right, coming in at number 2, the last match that I'm going to talk about for Shawn Michaels. And this match was very close to happening, but unfortunately, his opponent for this match died of a heart attack. And this match was supposedly set to happen in Chicago at WrestleMania 22. And that is Eddie Guerrero versus Shawn Michaels. I would have been really interested in seeing this match because I would have wanted to see who would have gotten the victory in this match. Now, there's no doubt that Shawn Michaels was one of my personal favorite superstars growing up, but I respected Eddie Guerrero and the work that he did as a superstar, so I would not have minded Eddie Guerrero beating Shawn Michaels. And of course, as a Shawn Michaels fan, I would have not minded Shawn Michaels defeating Eddie Guerrero. Now, there was a trend that I uh, found interesting that Shawn Michaels followed. Like at an uneven WrestleMania number, for example, let's say WrestleMania 19, Shawn Michaels would lose, and then at an even WrestleMania, like WrestleMania 22 per se, Shawn Michaels would win. And that he did. He defeated Vince McMahon. But if Shawn Michaels and Eddie Guerrero was supposedly going to happen, Michaels probably would have won. So this was actually one of the matches planned for WrestleMania 22. They even had a script for it, but unfortunately, Eddie Guerrero passed away to the heart attack, and they had to scrap it. And I guess they went with Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon for WrestleMania 22, which was an all right feud. It was an all right match. I liked it. It was like a hardcore match, but I think Eddie Guerrero and Shawn Michaels would have been a hell of a lot better. Shout out to Sergeant Slaughter Slaughterhouse for tuning into today's video. And he says his favorite feud was Sergeant Slaughter versus the Iron Sheik. That was a very good feud. There was a lot of hard fought battles in that match, or in that feud, I mean. Um, and I really enjoyed the promos between those two superstars. But I think Slaughter got the better of Iron Sheik a lot, which is good. And he says a dream feud would have been Sergeant Slaughter versus The Undertaker. That's true. I think that would have been an interesting match. Also, I enjoyed Sergeant Slaughter versus Triple H. That was a pretty interesting match. And I know that Triple H has said on one of those WWE shows that aired on A&E, I think it was like a Lost Superstar memorabilia, that that was one of his favorite matches in the early start of his career. But if I was to pick from today's generation, I think Sergeant Slaughter and Seth Rollins could tear the house down with a good match. And by the way, Sergeant Slaughter is one of my all-time favorite legends in this business. He has put a lot of hard work into this business, and he's an all-time great. And if you were to ask me who one of the best heels in the business was, I would say hands down it would be Sergeant Slaughter, because the amount of heat he got for siding um, with the Sirens or Iraqians, whatever it was crazy. I remember listening to one of his interviews, and he said that his wife was afraid he was going to get killed. That means he did his job well as a heel, and a lot of people hated him. And it took him a lot to get back over as a baby face. So he was great. I also would have loved to see Sergeant Slaughter versus Muhammad Hassan, because Sergeant Slaughter as a babyface would be good against Muhammad Hassan. And I think Muhammad Hassan also mastered the art of being a great heel. I don't think anyone besides Sergeant Slaughter could have been as great of a heel as Muhammad Hassan was, but unfortunately, WWE released Muhammad Hassan after the London attacks because of the controversy. And I guess Muhammad Hassan is now a high school principal. That's pretty funny. So Sergeant Slaughterhouse says, Sergeant Slaughter made for a great heel, that's for sure. He started off as a heel, so when he went from real American hero to heel, it worked well. He knows how to work a crowd. That is definitely true. That is true. I personally liked him better as a heel because as a heel, he got more victories, I think. I noticed when he's a babyface, Vince always had the other guy he was facing win most of the time. And he actually won the WWF Championship as a heel, which is pretty cool. All right, so my last dream match is a dream match that a lot of WWE fans and pro wrestling fans have wanted to see, and that is Undertaker versus Sting. And this is a match that a lot of people think should have happened in 2015 when Sting was under contract with WWE. But unfortunately, Vince McMahon had other ideas, and we got Sting versus Triple H at WrestleMania 31, and we had Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 31. But we could have had Sting versus Undertaker at SummerSlam, or Sting versus Undertaker at Survivor Series that year. But it's unfortunate. But this would have been a classic matchup. You've got two dark characters that know how to play the crowd really well, and they're both fan favorites. So it could have been a retirement match for both superstars. So it could have been Sting's final match as well as Undertaker's final match. But Vince wasn't a fan of it, and for whatever reason, it never went down. I think one of the reasons that Vince was afraid to have this match go down is he wanted both superstars to look strong. So if Sting came in and lost to The Undertaker, it kind of would ruin Sting's character, and vice versa. If Sting came in and defeated The Undertaker, it could have ruined Vince's creation in The Undertaker. But that logic kind of does not make sense considering that Triple H had, or Vince had Triple H defeat Sting at WrestleMania, albeit we're supposed to acknowledge that Triple H had help from Shawn Michaels, D-Generation X, and a sledgehammer, which is pretty true. Triple H had to have help to defeat Sting. But if Undertaker used heel tactics to defeat Sting, then Undertaker would probably get a lot of heat, or it would have ruined his credibility, and vice versa. A heel Sting character would never work in the WWE, in my personal opinion. So maybe it is a good thing that this match never happened. Um, Both superstars are well past their prime. I mean, Sting is like almost in his 60s, if not in his 60s already, and The Undertaker is well into his 50s. So Sting would have to rely on Undertaker to carry the match, and then Undertaker would have to worry about hurting Sting with a choke slam or a tombstone. So it's probably for the better that this match has not happened, but it should have happened at WrestleMania 27. Sting should have signed with WWE and had that match there, or at least in 2015. All right, guys. Those are all of my dream matches and feuds. I hope you enjoyed all of them. My final topic for today's show, and I want to touch briefly on this because I know a lot of people are going to ask for my thoughts. I'm going to talk about the WWE superstars that were released today. Believe it or not, WWE went and did another round of superstar releases. Superstars released from contracts, which is unfortunate. I know WWE is trying to save money and whatnot, but They're cutting a lot of people recently. So here is a full list of all the superstars that were released from their contract today. And in 30 days or 90 days, they will be able to wrestle elsewhere. So we've got, surprisingly, Keith Lee, Nia Jax, Karrion Kross, Eva Marie, Ember Moon, Scarlett, Frankie Monette, Mia Yim, Harry Smith, Oni Lorcan, B-Fab, Jesse Kama, Zada Raymer, Trey Baxter, Katrina Cortez, Jeet Rama, Grand Metalik, and Lindsay Dorado. I think it says Lindsay Dorado at the bottom. Yeah, Lindsay Dorado. So those are all the superstars that were released by the WWE today, unfortunately. The one that surprises me the most is Nia Jax, because Nia Jax was actually in a current storyline. But then when Shayna Baszler got drafted to Friday Night SmackDown, I knew they kind of were writing Nia Jax out off of WWE television. So it kind of is sad that Nia Jax is gone. I think she was a good wrestler, although she did have a tendency of hurting a lot of female superstars. Again, Karrion Kross, another surprise. I thought he would have a great career on the main roster, but I have to stick up for Vince McMahon here. When he released Keith Lee, he's doing it for the health and safety of Keith Lee. Now, Keith Lee has heart condition and heart issues. So I think Vince McMahon was making a business decision in the fact that Keith Lee is a liability every time he steps in the ring. So he didn't want to be liable if Keith Lee had like a heart attack in the middle of the ring. So he decided, I'm going to cut Keith Lee and wish him best of luck in his future endeavors. A lot of people are going to hate me for that, but it's the truth. And I would have done the same exact thing if I was Vince McMahon. Ember Moon, that surprises me as well. She is a talented superstar. Anytime I talk for a while, my voice gets raspy. I'm sorry about that. But Ember Moon, a very talented superstar, and I think she had a future on Raw or SmackDown, or a great future in NXT. So it is kind of sad that she got released. Very, very sad. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of WWE Top 10. It is my honor and my pleasure to be able to do these videos with all of you. So my next WWE Top 10, which is going to be either next week or the week after that, that's going to be on the best Survivor Series matches and the best Survivor Series moments. So really, it's going to be a special Top 20. 10 best Survivor Series matches and 10 best Survivor Series moments. I cannot wait to talk about that because Survivor Series is one of my personal favorite pay-per-views. Also, don't miss my Survivor Series pre-show the Saturday night before Survivor Series. And then don't miss my other awesome series I do here on Pro Wrestling 101, and that is WWE's Dirtiest Secrets. This month, I'll be talking about the Chris Benoit homicide, where Chris Benoit killed his wife, his son, and himself, and why Chris Benoit is out of WWE and will never be mentioned by WWE ever again. All right. So with that, thank you WWE fans for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, please like today's video. Hit that like button. Please share this video on social media. Share it with your friends who like WWE and professional wrestling. You can copy my YouTube link, paste it on Facebook, paste it on Twitter, and other websites so that other people can enjoy this video. And if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe. I've got other great wrestling videos coming your way. So, again, subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Legendary Alex Cardinale. WWE fan Alex Cardinale saying thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video and have a great weekend, WWE fans. Enjoy Friday Night SmackDown. Peace out, people. Legendary Alex Cardinale here to announce the Legendary Alex Cardinale subscriber giveaway presented by Texas Roadhouse. This giveaway is for all of you, all 16,000 of you subscribed to my YouTube channel, The Legendary Alex Cardinale. On Sunday, March 6th, 2022, I will be celebrating my 8th year as a YouTuber. I will be hosting my 8-year YouTube anniversary. And in order to celebrate that, I'm going to say thank you to my 16,000 subscribers by hosting a prize giveaway presented by Texas Roadhouse. The prize for this giveaway is a customized $75 Texas Roadhouse gift card signed by yours truly, the Legendary Alex Cardinale. I will sign the gift card and send it your way. So here is how to enter this contest to win a $75 Texas Roadhouse gift card. Film a video discussing your favorite meal at Texas Roadhouse and your favorite video of mine and favorite thing about my YouTube channel. Now, if you have never eaten at Texas Roadhouse before, then just discuss your favorite video of mine and your favorite thing about my YouTube channel. Email the video to alexgoyankiecardinale19@gmail.com by March 1st, 2022. Anyone that is subscribed to my channel can enter. So I suggest entering so that you can have an all-exclusive entree, appetizer, and dessert, and maybe even a margarita at Texas Roadhouse, courtesy of the Legendary Alex Cardinale. So enter right now. Deadline for entry is Tuesday, March 1st, 2022. All video entries will be uploaded to my YouTube channel and the Legendary Alex Cardinale subscriber giveaway playlist. Video with the most likes and views wins. The winner will be announced live on March 6th, 2022 during my 8-year YouTube anniversary. Good luck, everybody. Enter now. Remember, entry's deadline is March 1st. Stay legendary, everybody. Hey, Alex Cardinale here. It's November, and that means it's Thanksgiving season and the start of holiday season. Thanksgiving is the time of year where we're all thankful for being alive, being healthy, and having a great family. Thanksgiving is a holiday where we get together with our family and have a delicious meal with turkey and all the fixings. For the first time ever on my YouTube channel, The Legendary Alex Cardinale, I will be hosting my inaugural Thanksgiving Day Bash. It will air live on Thanksgiving Day, Thursday, November 25th, 2021, at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. I will give you turkey cooking tips. I'll also give you Thanksgiving cooking tips. And I'll have some other wonderful Thanksgiving themed topics. And I will also preview NFL on Thanksgiving Day. Don't miss Thanksgiving Day Bash live this Thanksgiving, November 25th, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on the Legendary Alex Cardinale YouTube channel. Happy Thanksgiving, and I will see you on Thanksgiving Day.